Is what it is.
What if instead of renaming it to the Gulf of America, we just call it the Big Gulp?
The big goal.
The Big Gulp.
I feel like we could facilitate that trademark conversation.
You think so?
I think so. I think we should at
Okay.
least raise the question.
And then you have to put in a quarter to like use the viewfinder things, and it makes a noise. It goes gook, 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 gook.
Ah, that would actually be very good. Very good. That's an interesting segue that you bring up crypto because I think, the root of that word is in, what is cryptic, what is mysterious, what is unknown. And
Mm-hmm.
that's really relevant to the topic that I'm covering today. I mean, this is
Okay.
definitely, as I like to say, a two milk episode just for like the
Jesus.
amount of milks that you need to get through it. You might notice this one right here is a limited edition Pillsbury Doughboy 30th anniversary commemorative cup. Holds almost 16 ounces of milk. I've opted for a skim as I'm currently on a cut. I'd obviously be doing whole if I was on a bulk,
Mm-hmm.
but we do what we can.
You got to drink one of them right now. Chug, 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 chug. Gook, 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 gook. Gook, 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 gook.
Some milk to start the day. Bottoms up. No. We'll save the second milk for later.
Okay.
Man, we are
Nice.
so great at audio only formats here. This makes a lot of sense to everybody.
You can watch video on YouTube if you want. I think we have uh I don't know, 40 or so subscribers on YouTube now.
Yeah,
So that's
absolutely.
that's pretty
Give
cool.
us
I
give
quit
us a
counting,
follow.
but
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And if you're not
Yeah.
driving and you click on us on Spotify, we got video there too.
This is true. You
Absolutely.
can you can see our
So
ugly mugs.
this isn't the topic. This isn't the topic of the episode, but when I was a kid, I remembered in PBS that there was like a commercial or something where a kid would just say, "How come if we drink something while hanging upside down, it doesn't go into our brain instead of our stomach?" But then they would never answer why. It would just ask the question. And I've spent like 2 or 3 years of my life being too scared to drink while hanging upside down because I thought it would put the liquid into my brain.
What?
Yeah,
Dude, I
still goes
was
to your
always
stomach.
I was always drinking upside down because I'd get the hiccups all the time. Have you ever
No,
drank something upside down?
no, that
You
was
gotta
the
like
joke.
hold the cup like this
Does
and
that
like
make the
tilt it
hiccups go
forward.
away?
I don't know. I did it so often, and then I just kept getting them, so probably not.
I feel like David Goggins would say the answer to having the hiccups, do 150 burpees. If you do
Ew.
150 burpees and then you still have the hiccups, then you have other problems. Oh, heavens. All right, let's get into it. Are you ready?
Ugh. I'm ready
'Cause,
as I'll ever be. So,
sure.
oh,
Well,
I just saw my cat make an appearance. She's
wait,
walking
who is
in.
it? Hold on.
That's catnip.
Oh, Catnip, what's up, buddy?
Catnip.
I was always interested in my Viking heritage. As a large, fair haired man growing up in a family of large, fair haired people, I often wondered if I might have been an axe wielding, horned hat wearing, beard sporting seafarer in a past life. When I read about the land of the ice and snow, its captivating midnight sun above, and the mystical hot springs below, I feel a sense of nostalgia for something that I've never, allegedly, actually experienced. So, I spent a lot of time believing that my Norwegian heritage was to blame for these feelings. As an adult, I took an ancestry DNA test and found out that I am English and German. So it's probably not the Norwegian heritage, despite my familial disconnect from the northern archipelagos, I still feel a pull to the cold waters and adventure of an age past. A pull that led me to Bear Island.
Ooh.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So, and by led me there, of course, I mean Google Maps because I did not fly several thousand miles to an uninhabited island for this podcast episode. But I
Yeah.
digress. Okay. Bailey, I'm guessing you probably haven't heard of Bear Island.
I've not. I mean, I've heard of nude beaches. Sounds kind of similar, but I don't know about Bear Island.
It's somewhat okay. Wow. That's like the next Love Island right there. But you could have one of those beaches here, as a matter of fact, because there's no one else to tell you that you can't, because it's basically, desolate. So
Like
I
free
haven't been
real
there
estate?
myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Free real estate. Again, haven't been there, but I do love islands. First, have you been on an island yet? Like, I know you did a lot of like traveling in Africa and stuff in decades past, but I wasn't sure. Didn't want to assume.
Yeah, I've been on a number of islands on Lake Victoria
Mm.
in Uganda. That was wild. That's a story for another time. But besides that, I've not been on any other islands. So I don't know. I mean, technically they're islands, but they're not like in the middle of the ocean,
Well,
Like
sure,
it's like a
sure.
lake. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I've been on Picnic Island, which is like a 200-foot wide island in Missouri between
Okay.
a few streams. And it was just like a humbling experience. It changes your perspective being like in such like a self-contained culture like that, like what they had on Picnic Island, where like at any moment, I guess you could float in any direction, and it's just a scary thing.
Wait, what?
What do you mean?
I'm
Have
confused.
you ever heard of Picnic Island?
No.
Well,
What is that?
it's like a circle of land, and they've built a moat around it, right? So it is an island. It's surrounded by water.
Okay.
But yeah, you can go there and you can have a lunch.
Okay. No, I've not heard of that. And your face is telling a different story. Like I should be laughing right now, but I'm
No,
just confused.
it's
Okay.
it's
No, it's
real.
real?
It's just
Okay.
a pretty small island. I like
Actually,
that you listed several islands and then said, but yeah, no, not really.
I don't remember all of the names of the islands on Lake Victoria because there were quite a few.
For
And
sure. No,
everybody,
that definitely
yeah,
counts.
yeah. There's also Quinsipi Island here in Quincy, Illinois, and that's where I currently live. And they just have like a bridge connecting it, and it's in the middle of the Mississippi River. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. There's one of those outside of St. Louis as well, but I haven't actually gone to it. Have you been on this?
Yeah, the Quinsipi Island.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we moved here, there was like a playground area for kids. So I would just take the kids there. But you have to
Sure.
drive over this like really old, creepy looking bridge. And it's only one lane. So if there's someone on the other end, you either got to start going or let them go. And but they took the playground down. So now it's just like there's like a marina, like
Mhm.
boats, people dock their boats there and stuff. And they have some original cabins from when people first started coming to Illinois. And I think it's the local historical society that's preserved them, but you can go and do like a tour. I did a ghost tour at that actually.
Oh, nice.
With that psychic
Sure.
Kate Belcher that we met at one of the ghost tours.
Yeah. At
that
the
we went
prison,
on. Yeah,
right?
she's a psychic.
The old
Yeah.
county jail.
Yeah, it's a small world. Let me tell you.
No, that is wild. That is wild. And it
Yeah.
does make sense because I guess if there's water all around the island, the ghosts probably don't know how to get to heaven because, like, if they can't swim, they're probably gonna be stuck there.
I can see that. That would be
Yeah.
really unfortunate.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, so all of that aside, you've been to a few islands, and I've been to a few as well. Most notably, my wife and I honeymooned in Hawaii, which was
That's
a great
right.
experience. Spent about 99% of my money, which is always terrific.
Always fun.
But yeah, it's pretty. There's good hiking. There's fresh air, etc. All things that Bear Island has. So let me explain it. You can see why islands in general catch people's interest. There's something so interesting about being in a world so small that you can fully explore the whole thing. Bear Island, or hope I don't butcher this, Bjorn Moria.
Very good.
I gotta try that again.
Okay.
Bjornoya as the locals would call it, if they existed, is just
Okay.
as interesting a place. It isn't exactly small, though, as it's 69 square miles. It's rather
Oh,
breathtaking with like massive cliffs overlooking rocky beaches, mountainous peaks, rich lakes, and tame vegetation across the whole island.
okay.
Um, it was formally discovered by Dutch explorers all the way back in the 1500s who named it Bear Island because of a polar bear that was seen swimming nearby. But
Oh,
yeah, but
so
nobody
it's
has made like a permanent settlement on the island in the past 500 years.
okay. So it's BEAR, not BARE
No,
island.
it is
Okay.
BEAR, bear.
Let me fix that in my brain real quick. Okay. Continue.
No. It's yeah, it's anything. It's a desolate maybe, but not bear. Um
Okay.
So Bear Island is the southernmost island of the Norwegian Svalbard archipelago. It was considered no man's land until the 1920s, meaning basically it was international waters, unclaimed territory.
Okay.
Um, when at that point it was formally placed under Norwegian sovereignty. If you're wondering where it is on the globe, it's near Spitsbergen and a short trip from places like Barlavage and Finkenkonkaila. So
What
that'll
did you
that'll
just call
tell you.
me? Okay.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
there's everything over there's like super funky names.
Yeah,
Um,
that's cool.
but I'm gonna send you a couple of images right here, and if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, I'll just toss them up on the video feed here, and if
Okay.
not, I'll link some, or of course you could just give it a quick goog. But it really is just quite beautiful. It's got these sweeping cliffs. I mean, beautiful sunrises, beautiful sunsets, relaxing pebbly beaches,
Oh,
clear
wow.
water. Again, some nice vegetation everywhere. It's
Yeah,
really
that's
like
beautiful.
it looks like the island from Lost or something like that.
It looks like where they filmed the new Star Wars movies with all those like little puffin things.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about?
Uh-huh.
That's what it looks like to me.
I don't
That's
remember what
beautiful.
those were called, but
I
yeah.
don't know.
Um it's
People are going to come at us in the comments, but I don't know what they are, guys.
was it a porg? No.
Maybe. I got to Google it.
Yeah, I don't even know. Um but yeah, it's kind of a somber, stony island with again, it's got a lot of greenery on it still, and about 10 billion lakes. It's just completely covered in lakes across the whole thing. It's very beautiful. So
Okay.
again, despite all of this and the fact that it's not too far from the mainland, there is no population. Um, Various attempts at industry and settlement have been made in the past, but nothing has stuck. So, hundreds of years ago, it was briefly used as a whaling station.
Okay.
Sometime later, there was an attempt to establish it as a mining island. A company actually bought the entire island and opened up a settlement called Thunheim. And after it was established, it was found to be unprofitable, very hard to operate in the area. People weren't happy, and all attempts to develop it were abandoned. The only like modern
Okay.
sign of human activity left is the occasional scientist stopping by a meteorological research outpost that has a small radio tower on the near the center of the island.
Oh.
So they operate that just to kind of like ping a weather report back and forth because, you know, it's kind of like out at sea to track storms and whatnot. But
Yeah.
usually there's just nobody there.
Wow.
Yeah. So one of the chief reasons why people think things just like didn't take is the weird weather. For example, right now it is 8 degrees Fahrenheit on the island, which actually makes it warmer than Illinois on this particular
Actually, right
evening.
now, today, yeah. I don't know that I told you this, but they've canceled school. Like the public schools have canceled for tomorrow because it's going to be sub-zero temps.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to wait for the
So-
bus. Like, my gosh.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, so it's gonna be rough. I'm looking at it right now, and we're expected to get down to 2 degrees, and that's before the wind chill. So,
Oh, man.
you know, the in fact, the entire week, it's looking like it's going to be up with highs in the 30s on Bear Island. So maybe the island attracted a bunch of unlucky complainers in the past, which has prevented its success.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, I would still live there.
sure, exactly. So anyway, I'm gonna send a couple more images just because they are interesting here.
Okay.
But here is an image of basically the preserved remains of a whale processing station from a couple of hundred years ago.
Oh, wow.
Then there are only a couple more notable features. There's a very popular sailing photo op right here, which is a tiny, tiny, tiny little beach that a Russian ship crashed onto.
Oh.
That comes from us courtesy of
whoa.
the Norwegian Wikipedia page. I couldn't understand any of the language on it, but it's still very
That's
neat.
so cool.
See, it's just like the beach is like 50 feet wide and it just like moored up on it.
Yeah. That's wild.
Then the last thing, which is one of the neatest things on the island, is an abandoned locomotive with a rail
Whoa.
line where, again, this was constructed by the company that wanted to set up a town to make it like a mining location. Now,
Right.
despite being close to the sea, the pretty constantly below freezing temperatures on the island preserve things really, really well, so it doesn't even look that old.
Wow.
And that's like with no one keeping up with it. It's just like a sad train in the middle of
That's really
nothingness.
cool. It looks like a steam or a coal train.
Yeah. This would have been
Yeah.
the very, very early 1900s.
Yeah.
So it's been there for a while.
Wow. That's really cool looking.
Yeah. So, let's see here. Yeah, and that one again comes from the Norwegian Wikipedia page for the island. So, Bailey, what do you think about like a cool place like this that just like never got popular? Do you think you can just chalk it up to the weather? Because what confuses me is a lot of like more icy islands along that archipelago did get developed, and they were a lot smaller and a lot less hospitable. So it's kind of a mystery.
Honestly, because I don't know exactly where this place is or like how far away it is from like a mainland. Because I think if it's, did you say how far away it was or how close?
Yeah, so it's roughly in the neighborhood of 100 miles away from mainland Norway, like the coast right there, but it's closer to a bunch of other islands again in the archipelago, which is, just a bunch of like a line of pop-up islands that go in a
Okay.
big crescent. So while it is about that far from the mainland, it's not even like by any stretch of the imagination the most remote island over there.
And do people live on those other islands?
Yes. Some of the other
Oh.
islands have multiple towns, they have roads, they have infrastructure. But this one, even though it's kind of at a nice location, it's just not taken off for 500 years. And it's not like people haven't tried, but they can't get
Yeah.
anyone to stay there. So that leads me to think that perhaps there's something creepy going on.
I was gonna say like it could be like a superstition thing, like maybe like locals are like, no, we don't go there. I don't know. I know that can be like a cultural thing, and I'm not as familiar with that part of the world as I would like to be, but maybe that could be a possibility, or maybe they were just like, I don't know, maybe they were just thinking to preserve it as it is, as like a historical area or something.
And
I
I
don't know.
wonder, so you're on an interesting track right there, because in the early 2000s, since nobody was doing anything else with it, and the Norwegian government didn't want it to just be like, an unused, sunken, does somebody try to steal it? Does somebody try to set up a missile
Yeah.
silo? Like what goes on?
Yeah.
They declared it a nature preserve.
Mm.
So nobody's really established it so far, and going into the future, it looks like nobody will. But being the clever, astute podcasters that we are, I actually came up with what I believe is the reason that this didn't take off.
Okay.
So
Let's hear it.
the real answer is, like many places in my homeland, Bear Island experiences polar night, where for a portion of the winter, it is dark for essentially 24 hours a day. So, this leads to cool temperatures and concerns about the presence of vampires and other such pestilence. So, I think that that's probably one of the primary reasons. And if you pushed me to it, I'd say that's probably the reason.
I mean, it could be, but are those other islands closer to it? Do they also get...
Yeah, I don't think
Dark
they've
for that
got
amount of time?
vampires, though. Like, even though they are dark.
Hmm.
I didn't see anything on any of the pages that, like, specifically mentioned that there were not vampires on Bear Island.
Okay.
Which I think
I
would be
mean-
a reasonable question if it's dark that much that people would have.
I mean, I guess it depends on your definition of a vampire, because I've definitely met some people where they suck the life out of me. They don't suck the blood out of me, but they will for sure suck my brain out of my ears. Okay. It's happened many times before. So you could be, you may be onto something.
Potentially. All right. Okay. So, so speaking of like a large uninhabited island like this, we have talked about this before, but I think this might be the perfect spot for an island commune because it is cold, but you can grow potatoes. It's got tons of like avian activity. There's birds everywhere. It'd be like an ornithologist's dream. So you
Yeah.
can harvest eggs. You could do chickens. I mean, hogs, those will populate any area super quickly. So you could do
Yeah.
that. And then everybody would leave you alone. And it already has some power and like I would assume like, radio infrastructure built up for that one little tower in the center island. So
Yeah.
I think this could work. So that being said, I'm gonna pivot to some other island stuff. But like, what would your ideal remote island look at? Like, how would we build this up here?
Okay. So we normally don't prepare ahead of time for episodes, but you did ask me to have something ready if I were to have my own island. So
Yes.
I've got some stuff in my notes app here.
All right. Terrific. Let's see how you would
So-
develop the 69-mile island.
So did you say 69 mile?
It's 69 square miles.
Oh my gosh.
What do
okay.
you? I didn't make it up. That's how big it is.
Okay. So first off, why is it spelled like Island, but we don't pronounce the S? That's my first question. Why do we say island and not Island?
So your first proclamation for your commune is that it's now pronounced Island instead of island?
Yes.
Okay.
It would be kind of like Midsummer, but not as sad, and we'll wear flowers and dance when we want and play bingo, and we'll have scheduled activities like they do for old people in nursing homes, but people don't have to do them if they don't want to. So it'll be kind of like a cult, but people can leave if they want.
You just said your cult is like a nursing home that people can leave if they want. That's fun. Also, you described it like Midsummer, but you didn't even know it was Bear Island. So that's interesting.
Okay.
This is starting to track. Okay, what else you got? What else you
The
got?
ESP is starting to work.
Oh yeah, connected by the Unimind.
So we don't have to have matching outfits per se, but everyone will wear the cutoff pants called jorks, and there will be a password to get on the island, and it'll be jorking it, and everyone will be straight up jorking it in their jorks.
Frick.
I think they're called jorks, right?
Jorts. Like jean
jorts.
shorts.
Oh, okay.
I'll take it. It's like a John Cena island. Like what
Yeah.
the heck?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I only have two other things.
Please.
We won't use forks because our hands are already like flush forks. Like hold your hand out like this.
Oh
It's
my
already a fork.
gosh.
So, if you don't have hands, first off, I'm really sorry, but someone else can feed you.
That's another one of the two bylaws here. Island, and if you're armless, someone will feed you. Like
and
a
then the
real
last
nursing
thing-
home.
Yeah, well, exactly. I'm coming back here.
I
Full
think
circle.
you just want to go into a nursing home.
No, one of my friends just started working as an activities director at a nursing home, so it's been on my mind a lot because she's been asking for ideas.
For sure.
And I told her that I saw this thing on TikTok where people they like tie a string around their waist and tie a hot dog to the other end, and then you kind of like do this and try to get the hot dog in your mouth. And I told her she should do that, but she said she'd probably get fired, so she's not
Oh
going
my
to.
gosh.
But so the last thing that I have down is when people argue, they have to stand in front of one another like this and then touch their foreheads so they realize how stupid it is to be angry to someone, and then they'll hash it out.
This is actually quite thoughtful. I like this. I like this system. I like this system.
Yeah.
So I can't give you Bear Island, but that's way better than any of the stuff I was planning on implementing.
Okay.
I will say,
let's hear yours though.
hold on. I will say,
Okay,
I will
okay,
tell
I'll
you
stop.
this. I will tell you this. You're excited about this nursing home thing. I was planning on putting you in a home once you're 67, legal retirement age.
Okay.
So you've got a little over 35 years to go here. Not to out you
I
or
do.
anything, but
It's
um,
all right.
yeah, we'll plan on that.
Just we'll start one on Bear Island, and it'll be more like a commune
Sure.
a nursing home.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, typically I would like to for starters, I've built several successful villages in Minecraft.
Okay.
So I think I'm
Impressive.
uniquely qualified to comment on some of this. Um,
Okay.
the number one thing for Bear Island is going to be vampirism is now illegal. We're discriminating, okay? No
Oh.
vampires, no French,
Boo.
and no vampires. They're out of there, okay? I'm sorry. But I
You
think
don't like French fries? You eat French fries. You're full of shit. You like French.
Well, guess what? I'm not Norwegian either, so this whole thing's just falling to freaking pieces. Okay? Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. But I think that's going to be mostly the big things right there is we're going to have to get rid of the vampires first, and then we're going to have to establish ourselves as a lake fishing community, because I don't think agrarian society is going to work on an area where it's typically around 35 degrees all year long.
Right.
But again, we're going to save a ton of money. The economic impact of not having to get sunscreen is going to be absolutely massive. I don't think we're going to be over like exposed there. I think when we are not overburdened by having to maintain a bunch of skyscrapers, that's going to open up an interesting opportunity to use the mining tunnels that were abandoned to try to build upside down cities that are going into the ground instead of straight
Okay.
up. Because of this, they're pretty much weatherproof. And yeah, that's going to be the primary thing that I think we're focusing on there.
Okay, that would be kind of cool.
Public transit, we have about 90 feet of railroad already built across the island, so we're going to utilize that, of course.
There you go. Yeah. You know, if with it being like around 35 degrees, have you seen the movie The Martian?
Yes, I love that movie.
He grows potatoes with his own poop, right? You guys could just do that in one of the caves. Have like heat lamps and some plant lights down there.
For sure. So
there you go.
I mean, we're a community of ants, and I don't just mean your mom's sister. We're gonna just be tunneling like that. So basically, ironically, I want to call my community mole people. And then just like the Falmer, which were elves in Skyrim, who lived underground, and because they were evil and they lived in the darkness, eventually their eyes disappeared. Because of they just weren't using them. It's like use it or lose it, buddy. And I think that aside from no vampires and no French, discrimination is going to go down because all of us will be blind from living in the tunnels. So that's what I'm hedging my bets on right there.
Not even you. Well, will you guys have like a light source down there at all?
Well, I mean, what's the point if we don't have eyeballs? Just gonna
Yeah,
waste.
but but that takes like years, like hundreds of years,
Yeah,
thousands
it could
to
even.
affect your eyeballs.
But again, think of the money that we're gonna be saving on the sunscreen. I'm planning on just like allocating to the R&D. So again, it's gonna be
Okay.
hard to get this staffed up, and we also have to be prepared for the fact that most people don't like to live on Bear Island. My community might collapse. I'm not better than anybody else. I'm not in an urban planning. It's
This
tough.
is kind of this is kind of starting to sound like a secret US government thing like Area 51
Yeah. Did
where
you ever see
everything's
anything on like
underground.
those bunkers they build that are like 50 stories underground? It
Yeah,
creeps me out.
I know. That like wouldn't your ears pop the
I would
farther
guess,
down
but I'm
you
like,
go?
how do they manage water? Like, how do you like my basement is 5 feet deep and I still get water in it? Like,
Yeah,
what the heck?
I don't know.
I don't know either. So anyway, back to islands. Well,
Yeah.
while this is a big island, it's actually not even close to being the largest uninhabited island in the world. So that honor belongs to Canada. Okay.
What?
More specifically, it belongs to Devon Island in Canada. So, it's actually the
Okay.
27th largest island in the world at over 21,000 square miles, and it's
Whoa.
uninhabited. Yeah, it's huge. And as I mentioned, like Kauai Island in Hawaii, which is the one I visited,
Hmm.
I'm sorry, that I visited. It has a bustling population, and it's only 552 square miles versus Devon Island being 21,000. So,
Whoa.
but unlike Bear Island, though, the reason for Devon Island's emptiness is more obvious and less mysterious, and that is that it is located in Canada.
Um, okay, that you need to give me more because that's not anything, Ethan.
What do you mean?
What are you talking about?
It's
Just
a
because it's so big?
massive
Yeah, it's very
uninhabited
vast.
island, and
Yeah.
people don't want to have you ever been to Canada?
No,
Nobody wants to go
I
there.
went to Niagara Falls and
Oh, yeah.
I could have, but I didn't have my passport because there was an area you can walk over into Canada, but if you
Mhm.
don't have your passport, you can't get back into the US.
Oh, geez. Man,
Yeah.
you have to have
So
a
we
passport
couldn't.
to go to Canada?
Yeah.
Huh.
Or it was my ID. I'm fairly certain though it was one or the other.
I don't remember.
I'm gonna
I've
Google
been
it
to
though.
Canada and I don't even remember. That makes sense though. That tracks. Um, it's probably trying to keep people out. I know I have a brother who lives in Canada and it was a heck of a time getting citizenship. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. US citizens need a valid passport to re-enter. Oh, from Canada. Let's see. Yep, valid passport to re-enter the US.
Dude, not
Oh, by air,
oh,
land and sea. Can use other travel documents such as passport card, trusted traveler card, or other approved documents. I don't know. That place specifically at Niagara Falls said it had to be like a
oh,
passport.
I buy it. I
So,
buy it. I buy it. Not me like at the border trying to show the guard my TikTok to prove that I'm a US citizen. Um,
oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So anyway, moving on, Bailey, I want you to take a wild guess as to how many uninhabited islands there are in the world, and I'll give you the answer.
Hmm. I'm. Your mouth was saying a two. I don't know. I was gonna say like 6,000, but I am talking out of my ass
Your
because I have no
first
idea.
answer was correct. You don't know? Guess what? Neither does anybody. So the
Okay.
answer is unknown because a lot of like the polar islands and whatnot, they have rough ideas and they can scan them, but nobody's like actually charting all of this. And most of them are really unpleasant islands and frozen
Yeah.
areas. Um,
Okay.
but then close on the other as well because they estimate that there are at least several thousand uninhabited islands. And most of them are just gross and cold or just rocks with absolutely nothing on them except a spot for seagulls to land.
Yeah.
But there are actually some perfectly good ones, and if you're willing to invest, you can even have one to yourself.
Okay, that
Okay.
sounds kind of nice.
Yeah, you got no idea yet. I'm gonna send you a little link here. You can
Okay.
check out right here. So this is a list of just one company selling some private islands that you can check out if you'd be interested in doing some just tours. Again, a lot of them are
Holy shit.
in the Bahamas right off the bat. Excuse me.
That's a lot of commas.
Yeah, so
Holy shit.
$39 million will get you Crown Pigeon Island in the Bahamas. It's a pretty interesting little island. What does it say? It's 11 acres, which is actually pretty big.
Yeah.
And across all the buildings that are already built, there's 15 bedrooms and 20 bathrooms. So that's really not too bad for 40 million bucks. Some of these other ones out here in the Bahamas, you can get another one. Here's 420 acres undeveloped for 37 million. And this is beautiful weather. And you'll notice a lot of these already have mansions built on them,
Whoa.
which, makes it a little harder to get a hold of them because, 25 million, 19 million, whatever. But I'm a little surprised that you can actually get a private island that's multiple acres in size with multiple mansions already built on it for $19 million. That seems a little low to me.
Okay, well, the cheapest one on here, I just clicked around, is in Chile, and it's $419,000, $419,207 US dollars.
Exactly.
I'll send you the link.
Exactly. Yes.
Like, what?
Yeah, and there's even a couple of them under $1 million in the Bahamas, French Polynesia, like lots of opportunity there. But what I think is kind of the best bang for your buck, and I don't know if they have any on here, but that there's multiple listings available in Brazil, multiple residences, luxury built up, $4 million for a private island. And that would have a harbor. Most of them have helipads. And $4 million is a lot of money. But if you got together like a crew of 4 couples, like your best friends at like age 65, that you're retiring, so you could all buy in, this is something that's borderline doable. Like, we could get like 8 other people, and buy an island that already has mansions on it. That's kind of nuts.
You're giving me an idea, Ethan, but I don't have that money.
I don't know. I'm kind of interested in these little ones that are, what is this, 5 acres in the Bahamas for $650,000. That's not bad.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. That's so cool.
No, it's very, very neat.
You could just get a job like working from home and then like on the computer or whatever. And then I don't know if you need internet, there's Starlink, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, me and my commune, we will not be in contact with anybody. We're going to be too busy burrowing. We're going to be like the TikTok lady again who built the mine shaft in her basement.
Just dig.
Gotta reference that in every other episode. And we are just going to dig. Yeah, so all that to say is I think one of the biggest things that's actually gotten in the way of Bear Island developing when other areas have is the fact that for the relative cost, you can get a much better island somewhere in the tropics, somewhere where it's very, very warm and where coconuts grow and all the crab you can eat is free on the beach. There's no law with the crabs. There's no law. You can take them.
You can eat them and you can get mercury poisoning.
Is there mercury in the crabs?
Tell you no. Nah, it's just the fish, I think.
Oh, that could be. I always thought that was an urban legend, and then I Googled it, and there's some kind of FDA guideline about only eating 2 cans of tuna a week. I don't want to spread misinformation on health on this podcast.
Is that true?
But
How
They're saying
much
it's not like
tuna?
necessarily a problem so much as something you should be aware of.
Safely eat 6 to 9 ounces of tuna per week.
Yeah, 2 cans. That's so much
Hmm.
lower than I would have guessed.
Yeah.
I hate it
I had
when
no
these
idea.
things. Yeah, I don't know.
They also say not to have like over so much caffeine, and you throw back like 4 monsters a day.
Yeah,
so.
no, that's an urban legend for sure. I'm like, everybody I know is measuring their caffeine in milligrams. They're not up in the grams like me. They ain't on this.
I think I just figured out why nobody lives on Bear Island.
What is it? There's
Because
no
it's
monster.
No, because it's unbearable.
Oh! Okay. But yeah, as mysterious as it is, we're probably not ever going to figure out why Bear Island remains super unpopular for the last 500 plus years. In fact, some people even think, and it's a little dubious, but there's evidence that some Vikings might have used the island in the past, but just as a stopover. People are trying to establish kingdoms all the time back there. Everybody's at war with everyone, and nobody saw this island suitable because of the vampires or other reasons.
Okay.
But yeah, why continue to waste our time with that when for the low price of a few $1 million, we can buy a island that has electricity already?
You're not wrong, but it would be pretty cool to be able to take credit for establishing, some place on an island no one else lives on.
That's probably true too. That's probably true too.
Like bragging rights at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And it's like, again, depends on if some people don't like, damp weather. Some people don't like cold weather. Some people don't like hot weather. I do like the
Yeah.
idea of like an ocean isolated island, like some of these for sale. I feel like I have a chance at completely eliminating the mosquito population on my island, and I don't like mosquitoes.
Yeah. Well, mosquitoes lay eggs in standing or still water,
Yeah.
standing water. So not the ocean, right?
No, not the ocean. So I
No?
mean, I feel like
So
I'd
you
just
could.
bleach a few puddles,
Yeah.
get a few bats, and then before long, no skeeters.
There you go.
Yeah, but that's all I got on the mysterious abandoned island. Unfortunately, it's not a mystery we're going to able to formally solve, but we know moving forward that it's going to remain a mystery because ain't nobody allowed on there.
That's great. Maybe the vampires were mosquitoes all along.
Hey,
It's too cold
they
for
both
them
suck
there, so-
blood. They both fly around. They're both super lame. So
Yeah.
I never thought about
Yeah.
that. That's true. All right, Bailey, again, thank you for your feedback on this. I like your island idea marginally better than mine. But if
Yeah.
you're listening, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you like the episode, or if you don't, then hit the subscribe so maybe the next one's better. And if that one sucks too, then just just leave a really mean comment because we need to learn
Yeah.
a lesson. We can't keep getting away with this.
No. Subscribe if you're straight up jorking it.
Yeah, if you're straight up jorking it and you're jorts, then hit the subscribe.
Jorks.
Yeah, but give us. You can find us on Instagram at NKNPod. Our theme music is Cherry Crush by Safaro. You can listen to his new album out now wherever you stream your music. It's super good driving music as
Oh, yeah.
always. Like
Super
flipping
cool.
amazing. Yeah. And with that, we got anything else?
Nope. I think that's it. You can find us on YouTube too. And
Absolutely.
join our 45 subscribers if you'd like.
Could you
So-
be 46? All right, everybody.
And to all of the people who've been commenting on my hair saying that it doesn't look good, my response is, okay. That's all.
Okay. All right, everybody. We'll catch you next time.